Welcome everyone, this is Zozo Stockwatch, and I'm going to do a combination video because I was out a few days last week, and this weekend, due to the summer, I was kind of like having a good time. So we're going to do let's get ready for the week ahead and stocks on watch for Monday, August 7th. And let's get ready for the week ahead part is August 7th through the 11th, and this calendar is provided by our good friends at the Trade Exchange. And this calendar is a nice tool that I like to use. So for Monday, basically not too much economic information coming out, but we do have some Fed speak coming up at 11:40 a.m. All times are Eastern, by the way. James Bullard, and at 1:25 p.m. Neil Kashkari. So some Fed speak on Monday. Tuesday, we have NFIB Small Business Optimism Index. Not a major thing, but I like to take a look at that, see how small businesses are doing. Jolts, I think Janet Yellen watches the Jolts. 4:30, the important crude oil data, the API, and that's on Tuesday the 8th at 4:30 p.m. And then some China information coming out at 9:30 p.m. on Tuesday night. Wednesday the 9th, we have the MBA mortgage applications. We have some more Fed speak, Charles Evans at 1 p.m. Another oil number coming out at 10:30, the EIA petroleum oil status report. And then from Japan, we have at 7:50 p.m. A couple of numbers coming out: Japan machine orders and Japan producer price index, PPI, right? And for Thursday the 10th of August, a little more Fed speak on William Dudley for that day. And not seeing very much for economic information. Initial jobless claims, Bloomberg consumer, but that's not very important. For Friday, the 11th of August, Germany's CPI comes out, France CPI, but these are in the AM, 2 a.m. for Germany, 2:45 a.m. So if you're up for that, or insomniac, you can check out those numbers. 9:40 a.m. Fed speak, Robert Kaplan and Neil Kashkari. They open the week and they'll close the week with Neil Kashkari. And that's about it. Oh, and the Baker Hughes rig count at 1 p.m. for Friday the 11th. Earnings season is going to keep coming at you, and some companies reporting on Monday. We have Twilio, Tyson, First Data, Marriott, CBS, pretty big one there. Let's see, AEZS, CAR is the symbol on that. Check your times for all these earnings and information, but another big week. Valiant before the bell on Tuesday, VRX, CVS, Plug Power, PLUG, Wayfair, the big W there. A lot of shorts in Wayfair, so if their earnings are good, you might see a big pop in Wayfair. And that's Tuesday before the open. Cheniere, LNG is the symbol there. Kite Pharma, KITE. Then after the close on Tuesday, we got the big Walt Disney coming up, DIS symbol there. Priceline, PCLN, Hertz, HTZ, Z or Z. TripAdvisor, Monster, MNST. Anybody else? I think that's pretty much the big ones for Tuesday. Wednesday before the open, Mylan, MYL. Office Depot, you got Wendy's coming out. Stratus, SSYS symbol there, and that's a 3D printer. Next one up we have for after the close, Organovo, coming Bio Delivery, I think that's BDSI, Jack, JACK, the hamburger joint. Live Nation, Planet Fitness. Then we go into some retails coming up for Thursday. Macy's, that's going to be a big earnings report for them, and Kohl's. The Blue Apron, the IPO that's been really taking a beating, and they're laying off people too. They have their earnings before they open on Thursday, so that'll be interesting. Coca-Cola. Let's see. Dine Equity. I think this is the bottling, though. I don't think this is. I think Coke already came out. I think this is CCE is the symbol there. Don't quote me on that. NVIDIA, big earnings after the bell on Thursday. Nordstrom, another retailer. So these retailers are going to be interesting to see how they did. JCPenney on Friday. Who else do we have on Friday? Telus, and I think that's about it as far as the big ones, but there's a few little stragglers in there for Friday for the earnings. So that's some of your earnings. So just be aware if you're holding any of these stocks that you do have some earnings coming up. And you know, these are just the majors, so be aware if you have any smaller stocks too, they might have earnings coming up. So always be aware of your earnings. And for your earnings calls for Monday, August 7th, you can see here at 8 a.m. you have a few. GoGo is at 8:30, BAH at 8 o'clock, FDC at 8 o'clock, HZNP coming out there at 8 a.m. with their conference call, CMRX at 8:30, and as you go down the list, and this is from earningscast.com, really good site for your earnings calls. You just click on this, and if you like, you can listen to the earnings calls, and then it continues on into the afternoon with some more names, and then we have the after hours calls there, and you see there's a bunch at 4:30, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 5:30. So this is a really handy site. Then you go into Tuesday, and you see the earnings calls for Tuesday. So that's the earnings calls coming up for the week ahead. And I'll just point this one out. If you're in VRX, you have an earnings call coming out 8 a.m. on the Tuesday, August 8th. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some of the worst stocks and best stocks for the week. We'll start out with some of the best. Stocks for the week, and this LL Lumber Liquidators had a great week. They were up 43% for the week on LL. MTW, nice week for them, up almost 25% for the week on MTW. Next one up was Boot, and we had mentioned Boot in one of my videos. I said it could turn, and it did, and that was up 25% for the week. So nice going if you got the Boot. YELP, after their earnings and whatnot, they popped over 21% for the week. BZH, nice pop for this home builder, up almost 15% for the week on BZH. Next one was GRUB, Grubhub, was up 13% for the week. GPRO, never thought I'd be saying this name, but they were up almost 22% for the week on GoPro. Good for them, and I think their earnings were pretty good. So that's going to be on our watch list, by the way. TTWO, one of the gaming, electronic gaming stocks, video games and whatnot. Look at that big parabolic move here. And, this has been riding the 10 SMA, and now this big move up. You would say it's a little extended, but, in this market, things just keep going up. That was up 10% for the week. DPZ made a comeback. Had this big drop the week before, and now we make the comeback of about 7.5% on Domino's Pizza there. Apple had their earnings, and they just keep building up that stockpile of cash. I think they're close to $300 billion in cash, up 5% for the week. So nice move for Apple. You see it's up above the 10 SMA. Nice sweet move. Nice chart on this weekly here. That's what we're looking at. Tesla also had their earnings, and they were up over 6, almost 7% for the week for Tesla. So the Model 3 looks like it's doing well, and Tesla rewarding the shareholders there and moving up close to 7%. And now a quick edition of our worst stocks for the week. Worst stocks for the week, and we got REV, Revlon, makeup company, down 19%. AVP, another one that face makeup and whatnot, not doing too well, down 20% for the week. DDD, as we talked about, down over 20% for the week after their earnings report. CCO, this one was down 17% for the week, and so Clear Channel Outdoor, CCO, down 17%. RH, Also down about 19% for the week. Restoration Hardware. Teva got slammed this week. That was down over 36%. That hurts if you're a shareholder there on Teva. Mylan was down 15% for the week on Mylan, so that's another one that would hurt shareholders. SPWR, after moving up nicely, a little bit of profit taking, but down 19% for the week. So people wanted out of that one. DDS, this was Dillard's, and that was down 8% for the week. FLR also down about 10% for the week. APA, oil name was down 10% for the week. HL down on this name, down 7% for the week. And lastly, we have Cake, and the restaurant stocks didn't fare too well. Just showing you Cake here, that was down 5% for the week. So let's go ahead and look at some of the the bigger names. We'll look at the Facebook. This is the weekly after this big push up. It was expected to have a little bit of a pullback, and we'll do looking at it at a weekly chart, and we'll switch over to the daily. And after this big pullback, now we have this retrace, and we are still holding above the 10 SMA on the Facebook. Next one up is the Goog, and that one not faring so well. We're still below the 5 EMA on the daily chart, which is this choppy white line here. The dotted white line, that's my 5 EMA, and we're below that. We're below the 50. We are above the 100 SMA, so Google may have to quickly turn it around. On the weekly chart for Google, it's been holding this 20 SMA on the weekly chart. It looks like it held it here, and it may try to hold it here again. So we'll see what they want to do with Google. Next up, we have Apple, which we said was in one of our better stocks for the week, and that's holding above the 10 SMA, the big pop. On the daily chart for Apple, we had the pop, the pullback, but we're still kind of waiting for the 5 EMA to catch up here. So we could pull back down to the 5 EMA on Apple, so we'll see what it wants to do there. Tesla, which we also spoke about in the best stocks, that is back over the 50 SMA on the daily chart. So good strength in that. Looks like next number to take out is that 360 level. And for the weekly chart, we are back above the 10 SMA for Tesla. So, nice week for Tesla there. The other name is good old Amazon, and that's coming down to test the 10 SMA on the weekly chart. For the daily chart for Amazon, we are below the 50 SMA, this yellow line right here on Amazon. Looks like they're trying to, keep it above this 980. If we do lose this 980, you would think that it would go down to this 100 SMA or 960 area. So that would be for Amazon. Netflix, one of the big ones here, and this one is stalled below the daily 5 EMA, having trouble getting back above it. We did gap up after those earnings. See the nice gap up, and now we're pulling back. We're hanging around this 13 EMA, and the low on this candle right here is around that 178. So they're trying to keep it above 175. Maybe, we'll see if the 20 SMA can catch up. Over here on the weekly chart, you had the big pullback, and now the big push up, and now the pullback. And so we are still above, showing strength above the 10 SMA on the weekly on Netflix. Let's go ahead and get into some, the markets a little bit. And QQQ is still above the 10 SMA on the weekly chart here. So still strong, still in an uptrend. And we are still holding above the 20 SMA on the daily here on the Qs, 143. Looks like the number they're trying to hold there. Next up, we're just going to, check out silver. And after these big, nice run-ups in silver, now we're pulling back again. So, it looks like silver and GLD are kind of like fading out again. And, of course, we have to look at the dollar a little bit, and that's kind of turning back up. so that doesn't help gold or silver. We'll also take a look at oil real quick, and they're trying to get it back over this $50 level. This is WTI light sweet crude, trying to get back above $50. On the weekly chart, we're still in that range. We have the 55 level up above, but right now it looks like that $50 number is the one they're trying to break above. IBB, we'll take a look, and we slammed up against that the 325, 324 and change level, and they couldn't get through. We're pulling back, but we're still above the 10 SMA on the weekly on the IBB, the biotechs. The XBI, which are the smaller ones, holding above the 50 on this daily chart, and they're trying to turn it back up above the 5 EMA. For the weekly, we came down, we tested the 10 SMA on the XBI, so let's see if they can get it back over that $80 spot. Next up, IWM, right, because we want to know what the small caps are doing. This is the Russell 2000, and we couldn't get above the 143 level this week, and we're holding above, trying to hold above the 20 SMA here. We came down to it, tested it on the weekly, and if we switch over to the daily, which is the black chart that you're looking at, you can see we're below the 50 SMA, but we are holding above the 100 SMA at around 139 on IWM, so that's pretty important, that 139 there. IWC, which is your micro caps, this came down to the 100 SMA and bounced off of it, so but still below the 50 SMA here, the yellow line, and still below the 5 EMA for IWC. IYT, which everybody was watching, as the transports go, can the Dow, the Dow theorists, the transports need to continue up for the Dow to continue up. And we did pull back. This was the worst day right here when we pulled back, and then we continued to pull back, but here's the 200 to save the day, and they came in and bought at this 164 200 SMA level. It had been a level of support back here on the 200 SMA. So you always hear trader, oh, what do you need all these lines and moving averages on your charts? Well, some you do need and some you don't need, but 200 SMA is an important one. The 50 SMA is an important one. I find the 5 EMA really important too, and a few others I keep on here just for giggles, as they say. But as you can see, we did bounce off the 200 for the IYT, so hopefully for this market to continue, we want to see these transports turn around and hold up. On your weekly chart, we are still below the 10 SMA on the weekly chart on the IYT. JETS, Jets, which is the airline ETF, we are holding this 20 SMA for Jets, and it some of the names are American Airlines, Delta Airlines, JetBlue, all those airlines that you can think of, United, etc. And so we're holding a 20 SMA. Then we go over to the daily, and we are holding the 100 SMA and that $30 level, and hopefully they're starting to turn this one up, because the IYT is going to need the airlines to participate in there to get that going. JJC, some copper, up here at all-time highs on copper, so good for the markets. Next up we have let's see, the Dow, and we will look at the Dow real fast. Continued to make new highs in the Dow, pushing up, and we're over that 22,000 level on the Dow, and no stopping it, and riding the 5 EMA, and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 9 days in a row on the Dow. We looked at the Qs. SPX we did not look at, and that's messing around with all-time highs. We broke out from this consolidation, we turned back up, and trying to get over that 2480, 2490 level. Let's see what the high was on this candle. Yeah, 2484. So we'll call it 2485. Trying to get back over that. And if you don't look at the SPX each day, which I use the SPY during the day, to keep an eye on that 248 level. We're just under it still, holding above the fast moving averages, and on the weekly, the trend is still in place, holding above the 10 SMA for the SPY. So that's a little bit catching up on the markets. Let me see if there was anything else before we get into the stocks on watch, and I think we can go right into the stocks on watch. First one up is going to be this AEZS. Almost 3 million shares traded. I don't really like this chart, but it pulled back and now it's starting to turn back up. So for me, it would have to get over this $2.25 level on AEZS or ZS, and almost 3 million shares traded. So it'll be on watch, but not a favorite chart, but anything can happen, as they say. AJRD, big pop. I believe this was because of earnings. 2.2 million shares. Obviously, I'm not going to chase it up here. Would like a pullback, but if it can hold above, $26, that might be an interesting entry. This was aerospace and defense. And AMD, organized pullback here, coming down to the 50 SMA. So, if this one can turn and make a reversal, maybe back over 1350 on AMD, we could get a continuation move back up. We'll see on AMD. APTO, nice, decent volume, over 300,000 shares. Small name. We're starting to get over this 300 SMA moving averages. We stalled here once before. We got above it on this candle, but pulled back. Now this looks like a better candle, a more interesting candle, so a stronger closing candle. So let's see if this APTO wants to have any kind of continuation. AVEO, looking for it to get back over the 20 SMA, 1.9, close to 2 million shares traded. For me, it would have to get over that 20 SMA though, which is at 260. So 265, this one becomes interesting if it can do it. BABA. This one pulled back to the 20 SMA area, pulled back again, 20 SMA, they bought it. Now we held at 20 SMA. If it can get back over 155, you could get a continuation move in BABA if you play those bigger names. BRS, you're going to see, oils are getting some play, and 2 million shares traded, 797. So the natural resistance number here is that $8. The high on Friday was 807, so maybe 810 will be enough to get this BRS to go. It did sell off here, chopping around, basing and holding this 7 area, 650, now starting to turn up. So it looks interesting. Kala, been down quite a few days in a row with little blips up, trying to hold this 100 SMA and $14 level. If it can get back over 15, maybe it becomes interesting. The volume on Friday was like 400,000 shares, we'll call it. So I'd like to see more volume. Maybe if it busts through that 15, more volume will come in. CRR, a little bit of a better pop on Friday, 5 million, close to 5 million. Looking for this to get back over like $17 and the 50 SMA. CBPX, building materials. Look at this big pop, 600,000 shares. I wouldn't go chasing it here, but if it can hold this, say 2250 area on a pullback, this one could be interesting. You see it's trying to get back over the 50 SMA here on the daily chart. COP, one of those oil names, over 46 becomes interesting to me. And so on COP, ConocoPhillips. CRR, another oil name. The high on this name was 773, so 775 may be enough. On this CRR, 2 million shares traded on Friday. CSTM, big pop, finally got over $10, 8 million shares traded. If we look at the weekly chart, this was a $32 stock, and now it's starting to get this huge volume on the weekly chart. So interesting. So keep this one on watch. EMES, over 1 million shares traded, 1.3, and looking for this to take out $7. Biotech name EPZM, looking for this to take out the highs here of 1440 and over almost 700,000 shares traded on Friday. I'm going to try to go a little quicker for you guys. 1050 looks like a big number here for this ESO semiconductor name. 1 million shares came in, and the day before there was even higher share size. So ESIO, GoPro may be one you want to watch. Their earnings were pretty good, and you know, a lot of social media watching this, maybe back over $10. 28 million shares traded, so watch that $10 break again. Goldman Sachs, nice turn up, maybe wants to play catch up with the banks. Over $230. This might get interesting on the Goldman Sachs. HIMX, I believe this had some upgrades in it, and this one looks nice. If it can get back over 850, 855, close to 5 million shares traded on Friday. And I think this one is virtual reality, so don't quote me on that. Check it out for yourself, but looks interesting. HK, another oil name, 3 million shares traded, 650 if it can get back over 650. INAP, big pop on Friday, 2 million shares. So watch this one for some kind of setup intraday or continuation. JRJC, don't really like this name, but I couldn't ignore, you know, this volume had come in and trying to get back over and hold above the $1.50 range. So if you like these kind of like wedges and turnbacks above the wedge, that could be interesting. KOS, looking for the high of the day to get taken out. This is another oil and gas name, KOS. The high was 660 or 650? 660. So look for that 660 to get taken out on KOS for maybe a continuation move. 2 million shares, MRNS, big pop. So look for some kind of setup intraday on this name. 5 million shares traded as it broke out above $2, went up to $2.12 and change. So next one up is OMER. Nice pop, 1.1 million shares traded. 21.92 was the closing price. 22.80 was the high. So maybe over 22.20, you could see a continuation on OMER. Snap, I called this one in the trade exchange service, and I called it over 1302, and I'm still in some of this, full disclosure, and gave us a nice ride. So maybe it's starting to turn around. I mean, it's been beaten down from about what, 30 all the way to the 12 area. So maybe people want to start coming in, taking a chance. I think the lockup passed, so that's when the IPO folks can start selling it and whatnot. SPII, big pop on Friday. Over 3 million shares traded, looking to break out above that $9 level. Let's take a look at it on the weekly. So we have, you know, this $10, looks like it'll be a resistance area. If it can get back over $9, could get a continuation move. You know, I hate chasing names like this. If it can pull back maybe to 850, 875, maybe that might be a better entry for SPPI. SYN is a biotech name, 3.2 million shares. And the high on this, and this is below a $1 name, so if you like that, the high was 62 cents. So over 63 cents, you might get a nice push up in SYN. But once again, warning, this is under a $1 name. TNET, riding that 5 EMA, so over you know, $40. This could get interesting if you want to try it a little bit earlier. The high was $39.79, so maybe $39.85 for the $40 break on TNET. Trex, TREX, looking for that $80 break. Came up to $80.11, so maybe wait for that $80.15. Or if we're lucky, maybe we get a little bit of a pullback to $79, and you could try it there. And the 5 EMA is currently, but that'll always be moving. The 5 EMA is at 77.48. I don't think we'll get a pullback to the 5 EMA with this kind of strength, but you never know. So, but a little bit light on the volume, over 300,000 shares. WTI, another oil and gas play, a little pop, 3.3 million, but has a lot of work to do. It's under the 200 moving averages, but could get interesting. XGTI, setting up here, had this run, pulling back, holding above the 200, and now trying to, you know, get back over the 10 SMA. The high Friday was $2.32, so 235 might be enough to send this. Volume only 400,000 shares, though. That's a problem with that one. XXII, while the cigarette companies have been having, you know, pullbacks, this one gaining strength. Over 14 million shares traded. Would like a little bit of a pullback in here. I don't think we'll get all the way down to $2. Maybe down to like $2.20 would be interesting to try to get in XXII. And that's it. That's the watch list. And so this has been a combo kind of video, and hope this helps you for your week ahead. I want to try to keep this under 30 minutes. So thank you everybody for the support on YouTube, and click that notification button, and also hit the subscribe button. Feel free to retweet my videos. I greatly appreciate that. And you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and good trading for the week ahead. Monday, August 7th through August 11th. Thank you so much for your support on the YouTube channel from Zozo Stockwatch.